Patients getting paid. What a concept. If your story is anything like mine, you had to dial back your job or leave it altogether thanks to your chronic illness. The paychecks quit coming, but the bills didn't, right? I spent years weeding through the scam job sites for flexible jobs and scam trainings for how to start an online business. I learned about paying patient advocacy gigs by overhearing someone talking about them on a bus. It's crazy the amount of time, energy, and money I spent trying to figure out how to work for myself or others in a flexible way that could accommodate doctor's appointments and hospital infusions or just not feeling well. Take advantage of my years of learning these tough lessons and get right to how to do it for yourself by signing up for my course, Patients Getting Paid, where you'll learn where to find these jobs and how to put your best foot forward in getting them or how to create your own flexible opportunities. Sign up right now for more information. Go to FUMSnow.com/patients getting paid. Welcome to the FUMS Now podcast show, where you'll gain information, inspiration, and motivation for living your best life with multiple sclerosis. Find us online at FUMSnow.com. I'm your host, Kathy Reagan Young. This is the third installment in the international series where I'm interviewing people with MS from various countries to learn more about how MS is diagnosed and treated in their countries and how healthcare in general is different across the globe. Today's guest is Katrine Bonde, a university student in Aarhus, Denmark. She's 24 years old and was diagnosed in June of 2014. She's studying and volunteering in various organizations dealing with food politics, in particular looking at limiting the information gap between food producers and consumers from a sustainability standpoint. She's a very interesting young woman, and I can't wait for you to meet her. So, hello, Katrine. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And how are things in Denmark?
Things are good.
Yeah.
Summer's coming and the weather's becoming nicer.
Oh, yeah. So, what's your temperature now?
I think we do Celsius. So okay. I think around 10.
Okay. Well, either way, that sounds not warm. And do you have snow?
Sometimes, just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, not right now, though.
No.
Okay. We're at the beginning of April, and I'm glad to hear you don't have snow right now. Good. No one should. So, again, thanks for being with us and talking to us about the differences in diagnosis and treatment for MSers internationally. It's been such an interesting series. So if you wouldn't mind sharing your diagnosis story and maybe start with what type of symptoms did you first notice and when?
Yeah, of course. So in February 2014, I was 19 years old at the time. I woke up one day and I had just been to work the night before, and I had to go to gymnasium, which is equivalent to high school.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was just remember zigzagging down the road to the school, and I had to do a presentation first thing in the morning, and the room was just spinning.
Oh my gosh.
And I just remember I don't know, I just couldn't hold my balance, and I just had to lay down. And then I contacted my general practitioner, and she was like, "You have a virus on your balance nerve."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay. So she just told me to go home, get some rest, and it would be starting to become better in a few days. So.
But it didn't.
It didn't.
No.
So after 1 week, I ended up calling her because she was like, it was supposed to get better. And then she asked me some questions, and I also had double vision, and she was like, you should come in and we'll have a look at you again.
Yeah.
So she did, and everything went really quickly. Like they referred me to the hospital, and I don't really remember if that was the same day or the next day, but I had an appointment already there at the neurology department.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
that was quick.
Yeah.
And did they do all the testing then there at the hospital?
Yeah. So they did some of the tests
Mm-hmm.
There, and then they also ordered like an MRI, which they did a few days later.
Mm-hmm. What kind of tests did they do other than the MRI? Blood tests and that type of thing?
So they did some blood work.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the MRI and lumbar puncture. Is that how you say it? The one with the spinal cord fluid?
Yes, lots of fun. That's everybody's favorite.
Yeah. I just remember laying there. I was really dizzy. I had a huge pillow in front of me, and they told me like that the fluid that came out kind of looked like schnapps.
Oh,
it's really
nice.
a big thing here. And I was like, oh, thank you. That's just what I needed to hear. And then they did a few other like small tests where they used these small kind of acupuncture needles, which were attached to small cables. And then they put electricity through my body.
Probably an EMG.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or a nerve conduction test where they're checking to see if your
how your body reacts. Exactly. Yeah. So they did that, and because I only had the symptoms in one place, they said, and I had 5 plaques in my brain. So it wasn't like, I know some people have a lot more and bigger ones. So this was enough for a pre-diagnose. They told me. So I didn't really know what to do with that. It was a little weird.
That is weird.
I just remember like they told me, and I was, okay. I don't really know what to do with this.
Right.
But they said, so you might not ever feel anything again, and maybe it will be in another 10 years.
Wow. That's so interesting to me. And so did they not start you on any medication then?
They told me that you could do that in special cases, but they would like to wait. So they gave me some hormones. I think it's called adrenal cortex hormone.
Wow. Okay. Never heard of that. Interesting.
Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I'm not quite sure.
We're going to trust you.
Yeah.
They gave you hormones for your MS. Okay.
For my MS, it's kind of a medicine. I just looked it up to be like, I thought it was a thing. Okay. But they gave me that to kind of reduce the inflammation in the body.
Oh, okay.
For this attack.
Yeah.
And it took it was about 2 months before I was back to normal again.
Were they, I'm wondering, were those the hormones you just referred to, was it maybe steroids? No. The reason I say that is because here the protocol for a relapse is oftentimes an IV steroid infusion, and for the very same reason that they said they were giving you that. It's to reduce the inflammation and hopefully blunt that relapse. So did it work?
It did work. I think it just made everything go a little faster.
Yeah.
So it did work. I started getting back to school in the beginning, 1.5 hours per day, and then like slowly building it up and coming back to my student job as well.
Yeah.
And then there was, I think from the time I felt better again, it was 6 weeks until I got another attack.
Yeah.
So I had been like, I don't really know what this is, but it sounds like
not good.
It's not something I have to consider like in the near future, and then 6 weeks and then I'm hit again.
Oh, that's a shame.
But
right.
that was enough for me to have the real diagnose.
Yeah. And then did they start you on meds?
Yeah. They gave me something called Tecfidera. It's these pills you have to take 2 times a day.
Yes, I'm on that right now, as a matter of fact.
Oh, you are?
I am. So I want to ask you about that too, but let me just go back for a minute. So I don't know where to start. I have so many questions. When your primary care or GP sent you to the hospital for the testing, did they check you in? Were you actually staying at the hospital, or is that just like you were an outpatient doing testing?
I was an outpatient doing testing.
Okay. And was that just like a day of testing, or did you have to go back several times?
I had to go back several times, also to get the MRI. It's all in one facility.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And did you have to, and I'm not sure you're going to understand when I say this, but did you have to get any sort of permission to get those things done? Did you have to speak to anyone to find out if that was going to be paid for, or how much it was, or how much you were going to be responsible for before you had any of the testing done?
So things are a little different in Denmark because healthcare is free.
Denmark. Yeah. Tell me more about that.
So we pay a lot in taxes, and then healthcare is free. As long as it's not like a private clinic, but healthcare is quite good in general here. Okay. So going to the GP is free, and going to the hospital and MRIs, like all these tests are free.
So it never even entered your mind to think, oh, should I, think about not having these because I'm going to have to, they're going to be so expensive. That never even occurred to you.
No.
Just go do it. Yeah.
Yeah. You just come there, and then they say you have to do all these tests, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, the doctor told me I need to do this, and so I need to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What a concept.
So it's quite different.
Yeah, no joke. So it was really quick, it sounds like. So you went in to see your GP. The GP said go to the hospital. They did, over a course of a few days, testing. And then who told you, and how did they tell you that this for sure was MS? I mean, I know that they sent you on your merry way, and then 6 weeks later you had another one. But who told you then that it was definitively MS?
So the pre-diagnose, it was the doctor. I came in there. I had to get talk about the results of the different tests. And he was just talking about there's a possibility that you can take these types of medicine. And I was just, wait, what? And I think a nurse was supposed to tell me before I entered his office, kind of. So he was like, wait, so he just kept rambling, and yeah.
Wow. Okay, so they put you immediately on Tecfidera. That was your first and has been your only medication thus far?
Yeah.
Okay. And when was that? How long have you been diagnosed?
So I got the diagnosis in June 2014, so 5 years from now. 5 years. Big
anniversary coming up, huh?
Yeah. Woohoo!
Yeah. Happy anniversary. So how's the Tecfidera working for you? Obviously it is, or they would have been switching you.
Yeah, so it's worked really, really well. Good. And I would say it was a rough incubation period. What do you call it?
Yes. How long did it take? So, I see. This is what I'm on. I'm all excited to talk to you about this. So, yeah, tell me about your ramp up period to this when you first started taking it, and what kind of? I don't want to suggest any side effects. So, tell me. You share with me what your.
Okay. So I threw up for half a year.
Oh,
basically.
God. You win. Yours was much more fun. I was going to whine, but I can't now. Sorry.
But it's like you forget those things. But I basically almost threw up every day for half a year.
Oh my God.
And
your resilience is amazing. If I was throwing up for half a year, I would say we need to find something else. Why did you decide to stick with this?
I think I was just so young, and then I talked to the nurses and they said it was normal. Oh. So I didn't really know exactly what to do and how to navigate in the healthcare system.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what other opportunities there were, and that they wouldn't have side effects as well. So I think generally there's a lot of trust in the healthcare system.
Yeah. Around the world is what I'm hearing. Everybody kind of trusts them. So, holy cow, 6 months worth of puking. God love it. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's horrible. And then what? Just all of a sudden it just quit? Like the light bulb went off and...
Yeah, kind of. Good. Or I think in the beginning it was more. Sometimes it was also more than once a day.
Oh, jeez.
Usually right after, like a few hours after I took the pill, I would just get sick, and then I would get this flushing as well.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if you have that too.
I do quite often now. I didn't at the beginning. I mean, I had a little bit of it at the beginning. I had terrible stomach issues and pain and everything, but mine was only 6 weeks and I never threw up. So I can handle pain. It's throwing up I can't handle. So I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. But now I've started flushing, which is weird. And it's been almost 2 years that I've been on it. So I don't know why all of a sudden it's just another gift from MS, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so are you still flushing?
So the thing is that I did it every time I took the pill, and I was really red and itchy all over. So I talked to my doctor, and he told me that I could try and take some blood thinners. So actually I've been on blood thinners ever since, but that really helps. I don't really get it anymore. Since I started on that, so maybe that could help you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. That I've never heard of. I mean, I'm on a lot of Tech Federa support groups, and I've heard a lot of people trying lots of different things, but that's a new one. So thanks for sharing that. Who knows? That could help a lot of people. Excuse me. So generally you're doing quite well now.
Yeah.
Good. Other than the damn flu that just got you.
Yeah, that took... the flu on Tech Federa is not fun, or with MS in general.
Right. I know. We get everything twice as bad and it lasts twice as long. So I'm so sorry. And just a little bit of a backstory for the listeners. It's like this interview was not supposed to happen because it was one thing after another just kept happening that we could not connect, including that Katrina was so ill with this flu. I think we've rescheduled 4 times now. And then this morning, as we're trying to get this interview going, we had technical issues. It's just been, whatever. But you know what? Nothing can stand in the way of resilient MSers. We just go, just watch it.
You know how to fight.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Okay. So, this is so interesting. So do you ever see a bill for anything? I mean, your medication, your tests, your doctor visits, anything?
And now I almost feel spoiled to say, but I don't.
Well, no, you feel as if we wish we could and hope one day we will. And how everyone, I think, should feel. No, that's great. You don't see bills for any of this stuff.
No, so the second attack I had that gave me the diagnosis, I had to sit in a wheelchair and use crutches for a while, and they also let me borrow that from the hospital.
Wow! So oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. So I wanted to ask you about how much all this stuff costs, and you would have no idea, would you?
So I know that the medicine is I don't know how much it is in US dollars, but I know the price of the medicine. But there's no way I could pay that the full amount as a student. So I'm very, very, very grateful that I could get that through the government.
Right. And so you don't even have to think about that. That's sinking into my head right now, how incredible that is. And the amount of stress that would relieve. I mean, I don't think we here in the US are even cognizant of the amount of stress that all of the healthcare issues that we're dealing with cause us, because it's cradle to grave. We don't know any different. But it's been so interesting interviewing people with MS in different countries and hearing this, because it makes me think about what must that be like not to ever have to think about that. I've had to fundraise to afford to have an MRI, and I've had to be scared. There is a lot of patient assistance in terms of medications. Not everybody gets it, but I have always gotten it. Thank God. There's no way I could. I mean, some of these, things are $65,000 and up, and who can afford that? So, but I've had to hold my breath, waiting to find out if I'm going to qualify again, because every year it is, they renew it again or don't. So you kind of hold your breath. So anyway, but I digress. It's not about me. It's about you.
No, but it's very interesting for me to hear about other countries as well, because I don't know, I know some Scandinavian countries, but people from Scandinavian countries, but hearing about all of this is also an eye opener for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. So does this extend to ancillary treatments? Like, can you get massage therapy, for instance, or cryotherapy, or, nutritional counseling, anything like that, as well, because of your MS? So
we can get some physical training.
Okay.
Like if you have an attack, then you can get an appointment with a physiotherapist who can help you rebuild your muscle mass.
Okay.
And then we have these, it's called MS hospitals.
Oh, okay.
So it's not really when you go to the neurologist and they do all these examinations, but we have 2 of them in Denmark. And I went there for 2 weeks, and they have, for example, this one was for young people under 40
Nice.
Getting MS. And then they had different focuses. So you could choose to have one where you work with cognitive disabilities, or one with physical training, and also one with like a more mental perspective and fatigue, how to get more energy in your everyday life.
Oh, it sounds great.
Yeah, and then you get really nice, nutritious food, and there are physiotherapists there, and psychologists, and nurses, and doctors, and a social worker who can help you.
Wow, it's like MS camp.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
That's great, and they can help you learn how to live with your MS better.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't pay for that either.
No.
I can hear in your voice you're feeling guilty. Please don't feel guilty. We're in awe and rather jealous, but this type of healthcare should be the gold standard everywhere. I mean, I'm trying not to get angry and cuss, but don't feel guilty. So in terms of work, when someone is diagnosed there with something like MS, do people feel like they need to keep it quiet because you might lose your job if your boss finds out, or are you, immediately medically retired? How does that work? Do you know? I know you're a student, but I feel like
so yeah, of course it's a little different when you are a student. So there's kind of a box if you get diagnosed while you're in the job market. I think some people do try and hide it in the beginning if they can. You can't, because the unions are really strong here, so you can't really fire anyone for having MS. I think that would not be so wise.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be like that.
Right.
But I think I don't know, sometimes I guess it's kind of hard to like hide it.
Sure.
At least I was in school, and I couldn't hide it for my employees either. I had a student job, which required like me being very physical, and that was just not an option.
Yeah.
So we have something called a paragraph 56.
Okay. What is that? It sounds like something I'm going to like a lot.
Yeah. So it's because if you are like the employee is sick less than 30 days in a row, then the company pays. But if you're sick more than 30 days, then the government or the municipality has to pay.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So, oh, wow. My head is spinning. So pays who? The employee?
Yes.
Like for your time? Shut the front door. Are you serious? So you're getting paid regardless of if you're working or not? Same amount or a lesser amount, a percentage?
It depends whether you're part of a union or not.
Wow. Mind blown. Okay. But either way, regardless, you're getting paid. You're not cut off.
No.
Okay.
Depends on what your contract says. For example, I was a student worker, and I think I worked 20 or 25 hours a week, and then studying on the side, and that was a little different. But if it is your like main income and you're not a student, then you're often a part of some kind of union. And then they will kind of set like what are you supposed to be paid, and then you call it to be on a sick leave as well if you're sick for a longer period.
Wow, that is very cool. I want to move. Yeah, that is really very different from what we experience here. So there's really no need to hire attorneys and go after an employer or the government for any kind of payment. You're due this money and they give it to you. What a concept. Okay.
I mean, there is probably cases where there's a little bit of a gray zone, I think. But again, I don't have so much experience with it since I'm still a student.
Right.
And we get a student scholarship.
Again.
Paid for studying.
Oh my God. What? Okay. I'm just going to talk to the listening audience for a minute. Who here is packing right now? Who here is planning on going to Denmark? Because I'm with you, friends. Let's get the caravan going. This sounds amazing. So you're paid to go to school? Yes.
I mean, it's not like we're very grateful, everyone that lives here, but it's, I don't know, maybe $800. So you can pay for rent and
$800 a month, a year for how often is that $800?
A month.
Shut up! I can't stand this. Really? This is amazing. Okay, and then now we're completely digressing and getting away from medical stuff, but this is amazing. So $800 a month paid to you to go to school. Are you paying anything to go to school? Are you paying for tuition or anything?
No.
Oh my gosh. Mind blown. Okay. This too, by the way, it resonates with me as I'm gearing up to send my firstborn to college and next year. And the estimate at the school that we've chosen, which is a state school, which means it's less expensive than like a private school, for instance. Yeah. And it's in state as opposed to going to a different state. So we're being smart with our money, but it's going to be probably about $25,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's not books or anything. It's crazy. Yeah.
So we pay for books. We do pay for books.
Okay.
But I think it's also because we pay like a lot in taxes.
Right. Oh yeah. So, there's definitely a give and take. So, you got to pay somewhere. But
yeah, so you get a lot in the beginning and then you pay back to society through your taxes throughout the rest of your life, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's just a different way of doing things, I guess.
Right. Well, and it's more equitable because this is available to everyone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not the case here, unfortunately. So this is just enlightening. Okay, sorry. We digressed a bit. Let's get back on track. So what is the protocol for relapses? So have you had one since you started Tecfidera?
So to make sure, a relapse, is that a pseudo attack or is that another attack?
Another attack. Yep.
So yeah, I had the one 6 weeks after I had the first one, and then I had a smaller one a few months after that. But otherwise, I've not had any attacks as such.
Oh, good. Well, congratulations on that. But when you had that second attack, what's the protocol? Do they do an IV infusion of something, or what? How do they handle that there?
So right now I'm on Tecfidera.
Yeah.
And therefore they do checkups every 6 months where they do an examination of my body to see, can I feel hot and cold, and do I have strength in my body parts?
Yeah.
And then they do blood work every 3rd month to make sure that your body is still working with the medicine.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what they do. But if you then have an attack, you are kind of connected to the neurology department at the hospital. So you would call them and then you would work something out. But it's not that there's a protocol as such. You would call them and then you would talk to them and they would evaluate the individual situation.
Okay. And tell you what to do from there. And do people, did they check you into the hospital? What did they do for you when you had that other attack?
The other attack, so what they did is the hormone again, which I'm not sure it's a steroid. They gave me both one intravenous and by pills because it was kind of a big one. Okay. And then they did another MRI. So they found more inflammation, more plaques, and that's how it is, I guess.
Yeah. But they jumped on it, and they
they were really they were working quite fast as well.
Good. Good.
But it also depends on how urgent it is. So if you're just feeling something that isn't really that acute, then they also do take their time. Okay.
So that is something that a lot of people say about, I'm using air quotes, socialized medicine, where everybody in the country has it. The downside to it, many people say, is that because of that, it's very difficult to get in to see doctors or speak to anyone unless it is very acute. Is that true?
Yeah, I would. So everything is, I don't know, it depends on what you're relating it to.
Right.
For me, I think they have been quite helpful. But
how long would you say it would take if you weren't, calling in to say I'm having a relapse, if you just needed to see a doctor for whatever, maybe even the flu? I don't know if you went in to see, but how long, if you the flu is probably more emergent. If you just called and said, I need the doctor about, I don't know, whatever, something that wasn't, immediate.
So they have, what they do have is phone hours. So you can call the receptionist or you can call a nurse. And then I would probably talk to a nurse because a doctor would see me about something more serious. For example, if I have the cold or I have questions in regards to my medicine, they would talk to me about it. And if they needed to talk to a doctor as well, they would get back to me often within a few days or a week. Okay.
So you don't actually necessarily go in to see anybody, you call.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I have questions, or I would always start with a phone call, and then you would kind of take it from there to see if there was any need for you to go in and see the doctor.
And then how long, if they said, yeah, we think you need to come in, we need to see you, how long would that typically take to be able to get in?
Again, it's also how acute it is. If it's
sure.
Like I can't walk, then they would probably say, come in this afternoon or the next day.
Yeah. What if it were something like you just can't get over that flu? Like you're still coughing and it's 3 weeks later and it's not, it's not going away. It's not killing you, but I just can't get over this.
So then I would, I actually did call my doctor to say, like, should I get off the medicine or shouldn't I? Because it is immune suppressing. So I did call them about that, and they were like, you should just stay on the medicine. But in regards to the flu, I would talk to my general practitioner, and she would subscribe me some antibiotics, for example.
And you wouldn't even have to go and see her? This is just talking over the phone?
With the antibiotics, they do want to see you, but then it's a GP.
Okay, and how long does it take to get in to see your GP?
Also quite fast. I think I called and then I had to go there the next day.
Holy smokes. Okay, so it may take longer to get in to see the neuro, but to see your GP is pretty quick.
Yeah, but again, it's if you have knee problems, people are not so fast. I think MS is because of it. It's because it's quite serious. Then people tend to be a little faster about
rise to the top of that
things.
list. Gotcha.
But I don't know. Like right now, I'm having a little troubles with my eyes, and for that, it took a while. Like because it wasn't acute, then it did take 2 months or 3 months for me to get an MRI.
Oh, okay. Gosh, that's a long time. Yeah. So this is completely off track, but I'm asking everybody, is marijuana legal in your country and used for MS?
It's right now it has become legal. It's kind of a trial period. So MS is one of the lucky ones, so to speak. I think also some types of cancer and some kind of pain-related conditions.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's quite expensive. But that's not covered for those. No, that's not covered.
Gotcha. Okay. So if you could change anything about the diagnosis and treatment of MS in your country, what would it be? And by the way, Katrine, you can say nothing because it sounds like I can't imagine what you would change, but I don't want to put my thoughts in your head. If there's anything you would change about it, what would it be?
I don't know. Now I kind of sound like an asshole almost.
No, whatever. No, not at all. There's always improvement to be made, right?
I think I would like to talk to other, it should be easier to get in contact with young people as well. For me, that would be very nice.
Like a support group or something?
Yeah, exactly. Because they do have some, but it's for young people under 40. And there are not that many young, especially girls, but young people who are still studying, for example, because when you are 35 or you're 19, you are very, very different places in your life.
Truth.
And I think even though everything, I'm very, very happy with the healthcare system we have here, I still think you kind of get into a box because everything is so you get a lot of things here, but you also have to fit into a box. And when you are a student, you don't really fit into a box. So getting a chronic illness when you are a student is, you're kind of in between boxes.
Right.
So
yeah,
you don't really, kind of, exactly.
I getcha. All right. Well, we here in the FUMS Nation speak to this stupid disease as it deserves, and we tell it FUMS every day because that really does help, by the way. Would you please lead the charge with your middle finger extended on 3? Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
FUMS.
That was perfect. I love it. Thank you so much.
Can I say it in Danish as well?
Oh, please. Yes, please. How do you say FUMS in Danish?
You want to hear it?
I do.
Fuck dig, sclerose.
I'm not even going to try that, but I love it. I love that. Thank you so much. Yeah, so everybody say that. And if you can't, just say FUMS. That'll work. Well, thank you, Katrine, so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you listening to the FUMS podcast show. Be sure to subscribe to it so you won't miss an episode. You can do that right on the website at FUMSnow.com. While you're there, sign up for the free email list so you'll be among the first to know of any new findings in MS research, new therapies and products, as well as any blog posts and podcast episodes I release. Want to chat with others in the FUMS community? Join us on Facebook at FUMS Now. Thanks again, and don't forget to talk to the stupid disease as it deserves. Tell it FUMS every day.